Hello people, I'm Ginnymetheral and I'm a 4th generation witch. Today's video is a little sad actually because it's all about heartbreak. Heartbreak can happen at any time in your life, as I have just found out to my cost. So I wanted to see if I could magically improve the situation of my heart with a spell. And so today's video is a spell to ease your heartbreak. So what happened? Well, it's a sad story. I seem to have had quite a few sad stories recently, haven't I? What with Back Off Witch having a go at me, and if you haven't seen Back Off Witch, I'll put her up here for you because she's very good. Now, it's a little sad, the story, and it starts many years ago when I met someone and they had a child the same age as my children, and I became friends with them. I became very, very good friends, and for the next 6 years, I looked after the child, I looked after them, I drove the child about, I drove them about, I fed them, I cared for them when they were sick. Literally, I used to pick them up and put them in my house and look after them whilst they were ill, and generally showered them with love and attention. My husband also adored this person and spent a lot of time with them, ferrying them around, buying them booze, getting them nice things to eat, cooking for them, generally just being good friends with them. And we had a lot of fun together. And those years were good. I enjoyed them. I loved the child. I loved that person. And there was nothing, nothing amiss, so I thought. This friend of mine wasn't particularly good at listening to my problems if I had them. And at this time, I did have quite a few problems in my life. But that is fine. Friends come in all shapes and sizes, and some are better at certain aspects of friendship than others. And as this person practically lived with us and their child, I loved them as my own. However, 3 years ago or so, I moved house, and because I moved over to half an hour away, I noticed a distinct change. As soon as we moved, having spoken to this person pretty much every single day for the last 6 years, I suddenly found that I wasn't speaking through no fault of my own for 3 or 4 days, and then it became a week, and then it became 2 weeks. I invited them to my house, and in the 9 times I think I counted that I'd invited them to my house, 7 of them there had been an excuse made at the last minute. And these excuses range from anything: I'm too ill, my car, my dog, my child, whatever. However, I was still asked to care for said child. And the child used to come and stay with us, and we'd look after her whilst the parent was off gallivanting or whatever they were doing. And that's fine. They were a friend. Do it for any friend. About 3 months after we moved, I walked into their house one evening and found a massive great party in swing, to which I hadn't been invited. However, okay, whatever. I thought it was a bit mean. Half my friends were there who I'd introduced them to, and I thought that was a bit odd. And then this sort of disinterest and distance from myself occurred. And then this year, again, I found that I hadn't even made it into their top 10 friends, as I found that they were having a birthday party and they'd invited all my friends who I'd introduced them to, but not me. It is difficult and hard to come to the realisation, which I have since done in the last couple of days, that actually I was being used. And although I loved this person, they do not love me. And I was useful as a restaurant, as a child carer, and as a taxi service. But that's pretty much it. And that broke my heart. But hey, we all go through heartbreak. Everybody goes through heartbreak of some kind, and you wouldn't be human if you didn't. So please don't feel sorry for me, because you have been through heartbreak just as much as I am going through this particular form of heartbreak. However, being a witch has its benefits. And so I'm going to show you the spell. I'm going to do it with you today, and I shall report back in the next 3 weeks, I reckon it's going to be, to see how it works. Because I want a spell that stops me feeling so angry, betrayed, upset, cross, crying, and all those emotions that I'm going through at the moment because my heart is broken and it's, I need to stick it back together, make it work. So this spell is what we're going to do. The spell itself is quite simple. You need some sort of poppet. I'm going to use these worry dolls. And for those of you who don't know what worry dolls are, you tell each doll your worry and then you put it under your pillow. And in the morning, that worry will have gone. This is sort of the same principle that we're going to use in this spell. I'm going to put all my frustration, anger, hurt, disappointment, all those feelings of loss into this doll. And this is going to make this doll into something really not particularly nice. So this doll is then going to become quite a danger to other people. And we're going to have to beware of that. And anybody who picks it up can possibly take on that misery or bits of that misery and bits of that negativity. So it is so important that you do not let anybody else near these dolls. Now, you don't have to use a worry doll. I'm using them because that's what I've got at the moment. You can use anything. You could use a little Lego figurine, or you could use your child's actual doll, although don't give it back to them. Or you could use a poppet that you make, so you can fashion a person out of some cloth and, well, anything you like really. Draw a smiley face on it, and that can be your poppet. I need to cast a circle around this chair because I want to be comfortable when telling my woes to the doll. If you don't know how to cast a circle, I'll put my circle casting video up here for you. So I have a buzzard feather here, and this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to do it from a seated position, and I'll show you. I'm going to start at north, which is over this way. I cast this my circle. Let everything that happens within it be for the greatest and highest good of myself. And the circle is cast. So now I can take my worry doll, and I've chosen this one, and I am now going to tell this doll all my woes. Sit comfortably and tell your worries and loss and heartbreak to your doll. However, word of warning, relationships have their ups and have their downs, and parts of relationships are always good, otherwise you wouldn't have the bad. So beware, you don't want to get rid of the good parts of those relationships, so don't talk about those. You're only looking at the bad and the hurt and the loss. You don't want to say, oh, well, when we did this, I was so happy, or this was great. You want to keep those memories. I want to keep the memories of the happiness. I just don't want the memories of the betrayal and the usingness. I don't want those memories. So when I think about this person, I just want to remember the good times because we had a lot of them. And that's why I thought we were friends and I loved them. However, I don't want to forget those. I just want to get rid of the feelings of hurt. So that is what I'm going to say to my doll. Once you feel that you have unburdened yourself and every last bit of it, you might as well get rid of it. This doll is quite dangerous, so we now need to put the doll to bed. The next part of the spell is to wrap the poppet in some material. You can almost feel the energy it contains. And I have wrapped this poppet up. I'm going to put her away for 3 weeks. Now you need to put the doll somewhere safe, and you must put it where no one else can get this doll. You have just created a very powerful and really nasty negative charm. You don't want anybody else finding this doll. For example, any child might find this and go, oh, look, what's that? You don't want that, because that would really be bad news. So we're going to hide your doll wherever you think. Nobody but you will know where it is. And that's the benefit of having something so small, is that you can put it into some nook and cranny. You only need to hide the doll until you feel better. I reckon this is going to be 3 weeks for my heart to be cured. I know, it doesn't sound very long, does it? After you feel that your heartache has cured itself and you're not weeping rivers of tears all the time, the next thing to do, and the final part of the spell, is to destroy the poppet. So take this poppet and burn it, pull it apart, bury it, throw it away. You need to get rid of it, preferably, if you can, burn it. When you do that though, you need to handle it with kid gloves, because you don't want that negativity coming straight back at you, because it is your energy. So it will have an affinity with coming straight back at you. So be careful. The way to prevent it is to cast a circle about yourself. Use some tongs to pick up the poppet and then cast it onto the fire. So let me know what you think. I'll let you know in my community posts how I get on in about 3 weeks' time. I would love to know your thoughts about this. Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week.